Hi, Simon Chapple here. I'm the Quit Alcohol Coach, and as always, I want to help you smash your sobriety. There's new videos on my YouTube channel every Tuesday and every Thursday. If you enjoy the content, hit the little red button on the screen so you can subscribe and get notified when new content is released. You're also welcome to join my quit drinking program at joinbesober.com, which will give you all the support, the tools, the structure, and the accountability you need to successfully quit drinking. Today, I wanted to talk about whether it's possible to drink in moderation. So I was a heavy daily wine drinker for over 20 years. I was drinking anything from 1 to 3 or more bottles of red wine every single day. And when I realized I had a problem, the first thing I thought was, well, I don't need to stop altogether. Maybe I can just have a few glasses. Maybe I could just drink at the weekend or every other day. Or maybe I could start drinking later in the day. And I tried all of these things, and every single time it was a disaster. And in my experience, most people who read quit drinking books, join stop drinking programs, and look on websites about quitting alcohol because they realize that they've got a problem aren't able to moderate. It's very, very rare. I find that most people who have an issue with alcohol are all or nothing type people. They haven't got one foot in and one foot out. They're either all in or they're all out. And that can be like having a superpower. When you're all or nothing and you apply that to your family life, to your work life, to your fitness, to your health, it can be amazing. You can achieve wonderful things. But when you mix an all or nothing personality with an addictive substance, it usually doesn't end very well. And trying to fight moderation can be equally as challenging. A recent study showed that more than 2/3 of people do not drink moderately. They drink more than a moderate amount of alcohol, which is above the safe recommended daily limits. That's a lot of people. And of course, many people are in the higher risk category where they're drinking way more than the safe limits. So what does drinking moderately actually mean? To me, drinking moderately was about being very mindful about how much I was drinking, staying within the 14 unit per week limit that had been set, and I just couldn't do it. There was no way, it was impossible. The first thing I tried to do was to start drinking later in the evening. I normally began drinking around 7 p.m. I thought I'd push it back to 9 p.m. And I managed it for a night, maybe 2 nights. And then I felt like I was being deprived and I wanted to go straight back to my usual pattern of drinking. After that, I thought, well, maybe I could get lower alcohol wine. Now, I don't mean the low alcohol wine that I recommend to people these days, but just lower alcohol, maybe 10% instead of 14% ABV. And that was what I did. And again, I felt like I was missing out. I felt like I'd had my normal drink taken away from me. It didn't scratch the itch. And that was what I needed at that time. After that, I tried to just drink at the weekends, which lasted 1 day, and I was straight back to drinking again. That was a failure. The only thing that did work for a short period of time in terms of moderation was watering down my wine. I don't know why this worked, but I actually managed it for a couple of weeks. I started off by adding 10% water into 90% wine. And then I just gradually increased the amount of water till I was eventually at 50-50. And I actually did that up until the point that I fully quit drinking, which I find quite unbelievable. So it was almost like tapering down. And that actually worked quite well for me. I don't recommend it as a strategy to people because I would rather people just recognize they need to quit and then stop rather than watering it down, tapering it down, and still having some kind of alcohol going on. But it may be something you want to try and you want to explore, because to me, moderation is like a rite of passage into sobriety. There's very few people who don't try and moderate. We all try it almost every time it fails, and then we realize that actually living an alcohol-free life is so much easier. And the reason it's easier is because there's no more choices to make. We're not thinking about, well, what time can I start? How much can I drink today? How much am I allowed to buy? All these decisions are taken away. We make one firm and final decision, which is, I'm not drinking anymore. I'm going to live an alcohol-free life. And then we go on from there, happy in the knowledge that we don't have to keep thinking about boozing, wondering if we can moderate, wondering if we can have our normal amount of booze today. And of course, the benefits are amazing. I talk on some of my other videos about the amazing things that happen when we quit drinking, not just the changes to our skin, the darkness under our eyes, the facial bloating, but the internal changes to our mental health, our sense of well-being, our happiness levels, anxiety. It's incredible. And our relationships with our friends and our family and our children, they all change for the better. Our productivity at work, that sense of motivation, the energy levels we've got. And of course, none of that's going to happen if you're caught in this moderation trap where you're constantly thinking about how much you can or can't drink. You're still having alcohol. It's still going to have those effects on you. You're not going to feel or experience the true gifts that come from living alcohol free. My advice is to try taking a break from drinking for maybe 30 days. Look at the changes that happen over that period of time. Notice them, journal them, see what happens to you. And then on the back of that, ask yourself, if you could take an extended break as you reach the end of 30 days, normally you'll be feeling so good that you'll absolutely want to do that, because you'll be starting to realize that this is an excellent lifestyle choice and you're feeling so much better about yourself. But to me, in simple terms, is moderation worth it? Is moderate drinking a good choice? Absolutely not.